Elden Ring didn't have the most robust multiplayer suite at launch, and while you could say that it was a design decision, it's still not ideal. However, a new user-created mod promises to bring a true co-op experience to the game. Does it actually succeed at improving From Software's already brilliant magnum opus though? Well, let's dive straight in and find out. First up, Elden Ring's been sorely missing proper co-op since launch. From Software's already been iffy about having co-op in its games, only doing the bare minimum just to make sure that it's got some multiplayer element to it. However, while it's a bit of a bummer since playing Souls-like games with your friends sounds like a super fun time, there's probably a very good design reason behind it too. After all, no one even comes close to the Japanese developer when it comes to really nailing that carefully crafted level design. Plus, they've somehow translated this deliberate design into their open-world game Elden Ring as well, which is something that only games like Skyrim and Breath of the Wild can boast about. Of course, this has come at the cost of a robust co-op system, which has been a growing trend in open-world games lately. For instance, a game like Far Cry is infinitely more fun when you're playing it with a friend. Yes, we know, Ubisoft's open world doesn't have the level of detail or craftsmanship that comes with a From Software game, but you get the point. On top of that, even the weird summoning co-op they've got in Elden Ring's super fun, and there's nothing better than taking down a difficult boss with a friend. Oh, and obviously, we wouldn't have got incredible stories like Let Me Solo Her out of the game without multiplayer either. So it's kind of frustrating to see the potential right there, but just out of reach, like From Software's literally sitting on a goldmine right now. Next, Seamless Co-op mod fixes a lot of Elden Ring grievances. Now, if there's anything broken or unfinished about a PC game, you can bet that modders are gonna find some solution to it, and that's exactly what happened with Elden Ring multiplayer too. Created by Luke Huey on Nexus Mods, the Seamless Co-op mod for From Software's New Adventure lets you explore the lands between with your friends. The catch? Well, there isn't any. You can literally roam around anywhere you want, and even death isn't enough to send your friend back to their realm. Also, both you and your friend can now ride your own torrent at the same time, so your friend can't suddenly abandon you in a fight against that pack of tree centennials. And progression and item gain is shared too. Of course, you've also got other expected features like joint fast travel and even an option to spectate your partner if you die during a boss fight. Oh, and you can also turn on friendly fire to truly unleash that frenzied flame upon your friends. The greatest thing about this seamless mod, however, is the fact that up to 4 players can jump into a game at a time. Millennia doesn't stand a chance against 4 guys wearing panties and pots on their heads. Now, we don't know if all 4 of you can go and hug Fia at the same time, but hey, no one wants a toxic group hug that debuffs you anyway, right? But all being said, the feature set for this mod's unlike anything we've seen before. Like, we've had similar mods for other open world games like Skyrim, but they've never been nowhere near as detailed. So, what does the co-op mod actually play like? Now, the Seamless Co-op mod looks pretty sweet, well, at least on paper, but we've seen time and time again how these multiplayer mods come out and then completely fail to replicate the true feeling of playing that game. You see, the thing is that games that aren't designed for proper multiplayer just aren't gonna feel great with it, as the developer hasn't taken that reality on board while designing the levels and combat for the game. Elden Ring, however, stands in a very unique position, because while it doesn't have proper co-op, it's still enough for From Software to actually make design decisions around it. So when you throw the Seamless mod on top of it, everything works surprisingly well. There's no awkward lag, glitches, or matchmaking issues. In fact, this mod somehow works better than most multiplayer games despite still being in beta. Also, it's kind of growing into a phenomenon, as it already surpassed 50,000 downloads. Like, they've even got an official Discord and subreddit that's dedicated to the Seamless mod, and everyone there seems to be loving it so far too. For instance, one user reviewing the mod said that it's kind of unbelievable that a co-op mod of this scale actually works for a game like Elden Ring, especially when we've been bombarded by broken promises in the past. Others praised the dev for creating this marvel for a closed-source game, which probably wasn't super easy to deal with. And the overall reception's been super positive, and everyone's saying that you don't even have to wait until the full release to play it, since it's pretty flawless already. So, will From Software's next game have co-op? Seeing the success of user-created co-op mod, you'd think that From Software would take notice, right? After all, if over 50,000 people have downloaded it in beta, which, by the way, are massive numbers for a mod, then surely there's a demand for it. On top of that, only PC players have access to it, since Elden Ring doesn't have official mod support on consoles. And chances are that we're never going to see that change either. So there's gotta be an internal discussion for the next game that maybe this is what the people want. Besides, in a post-pandemic world, it's become incredibly important for people to connect with each other and socialize, and gaming has been a great way for them to do that. Now, people might say that From Software doesn't like taking risks with its games. However, while that may be true to an extent, you can't say that Elden Ring is a safe game. Yes, they've picked up the combat mechanics and and some of the assets from previous Souls games, but that's just how game development works. Also, they're kinda the only ones who've nailed an open world like this without any quest markers or journals. So rest assured, Hidetaka Miyazaki knows what he's doing. When it comes to adding co-op in their next game though, it's a tricky one. On one hand, you've got the Japanese developers' core design philosophy that allows them to create these meticulously crafted levels. On the other hand though, everyone loves having the ability to play with their friends these days. And even if it breaks through their intentional design sometimes, it's still probably worth it. So it's gonna be super interesting to see whether From Software takes this feedback on board for their next game, which we assume is Armored Core. Next, in other related news, The Last of Us remake confirmed. Naughty Dog revolutionized cinematic storytelling in games when it released The Last of Us way back in 2013. And now, in anticipation of the upcoming show, it seems like they've got a remake for it in the works too. Announced at the Summer Games Fest on Thursday, The Last of Us Part 1 is built from the ground up for PlayStation 5 and will take full advantage of the console. And with a September 2nd release date, we can expect it to look very similar to The Last of Us Part 2. Oh, and it's also worth noting that Sony's planning on releasing this game on PC a few months down the line as well. And now, Xbox announces cloud streaming app for Samsung TVs. Only a couple of days before its Xbox and Bethesda game showcase, the console manufacturer has announced that it's planning on releasing a cloud streaming app for Samsung TVs later this year. The app, which looks very similar to what a Netflix for games would look like, allows you to connect a controller to your TV via Bluetooth and jump into any Game Pass title. If you want to play your own games via the cloud though, then that functionality is coming your way later this year too. On top of that, Xbox also announced that it's currently working on something called Project Moorcroft, which is an answer to PS Plus demos. This new service will let you try out any game you want before buying it. And guess what? They're even paying the devs for it this time around. Finally, Microsoft lays out its plans for the future of gaming. Game streaming on your TV isn't the only thing that Microsoft announced during its press briefing, as it also discussed its gaming roadmap going forward. According to the head of Xbox Game Studios, Matt Booty, they plan on releasing at least 5 first-party games within the next year. Now, we know that 2 of those games are Starfield and Redfall. Other than that, though, it's all speculation. The console manufacturer also reassured Activision Blizzard fans that it intends on keeping big community games multi-platform. So your Call of Duties and Overwatches aren't going to go exclusive anytime soon. However, other IPs like Diablo are probably going to release only on Xbox after the acquisition goes through. That's a wrap for this video. Which Activision Blizzard franchise do you want Xbox to bring back from the dead? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.